Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Big Idea Podcast. We're going to have a really good show this week. We've got a long-term friend of Mr. Silman's and a new-time friend of myself and Mr. Larkin, a guy named Mark Trahan. Mark has been doing successful work for dealerships for a long time. He explained to me that in his world, F&I doesn't stand for finance and insurance. It stands for fun and interesting, which makes me like the guy already. Mark, we're super glad you joined us. Tell us about what you do, how you do it, how long you've been doing it. And I know Gary and Mike and myself will have some good questions for you.
Beautiful. Well, Larry, Gary, Mike, congratulations on episode 40. And thank you for having us involved with it. Over my career, I've sat and I looked at videos like this, and I've seen guys my age talk about it, the dark ages to current time. So I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible. I am a car guy, just like you guys. I started selling cars in my early 20s in 1983 at a Littman AMC Jeep Renault dealership. Harvey Littman was the dealer. He also had a Chevy store in East Hartford at the time.
Well, wait a minute, Mark. Let's for anybody younger than us viewing AMC. This was a group where everybody smoked weed, and they sat around the table and said, "Let's find the ugliest possible combination of cars." Hence the Gremlin, the Pacer, so that's an ambassador, and the Javelin.
All which weighed several tons. They were the heaviest cars made. My first pre-owned car that I sold that got me locked into the business was a canary yellow AMC Pacer with wood grain down the side. And I remember to the used car manager at the time, he said, that's an 18-pounder. And I didn't understand the nomenclature at the time. It was an $1,800 gross. And at the time, we were making a 20% commission. He goes, and you made 360 shekels. And all these terminologies, and I kind of walked out of the office. I had no idea what he was talking about. And then when I found out what I made after a couple hours of having fun with somebody who really loved that car, I go, this is the business for me. Very quick story. Gene Morin, he recently passed, but he was a strong mentor of mine. He was the general manager of the dealership, and I was 23. And he gave me the opportunity. I was very young at the time, but he gave me the opportunity to try it. He really set me on my path, and I owe him a lot. But when he interviewed me, he goes, well, we give you a day off, a draw, and a demo. And I knew what a day off was, but I had no idea because I'd never sold a car in my life and never sold anything in my life. Had no idea what a draw was and no idea what a demo was. I go, what's a draw? And he said, a draw is we give you money up front before you sell a car. I go, hold on a second. You're going to give me money before I sell anything? He goes, yes. I go, and what's a demo? He goes, we give you a demonstrator. We give you a car to drive. I said, where do I sign? And I was off to the races. And I had a wonderful career selling cars. Mr. Littman started an F&I consulting company called ASAP, the Auto Sales Assistance Program, and I became a part of a company that set up F&I departments in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, upstate New York, Rhode Island. And I lived on the road. They were 90-day deals. We would go into stores and work for 90 days, bell to bell, myself and a couple of other guys. And we would set up an F&I department, bring products in. We worked with Coin Computer in the day. Dating myself again when Coin Computer was the high-end technology at the time for computers. Did that for a number of years. Being on the road kind of ground me up, and I went to go work for a fledgling general agency called Finance Builders. Became an executive in that company. And I got addicted to brands, and I'll talk a little bit about our brands here in a second, but we were the first agent to market a service contract under the Travelers umbrella. It was the Automotive Protection Plan. And that program, we were a young agency, we were full of everything we needed to be successful, but that brand really helped us open doors. We were based in Connecticut, and obviously the Travelers was a Connecticut-based company. And that got us really addicted to what a brand can do. I worked in the GA space for a good number of years, and I exited. It'll be 31 years ago this October, and I went to Simonize and started a car care program under the Simonize brand, which is still in business today. A really well-run company still, and had a great career with them for 20 years, and I exited, and I had one more build in me, and I had the opportunity to partner with the Armor All brand and started the Armor All Dealer Products division of Armor All, the professional side of the business. 11 years, this coming October 31st. I think that covers the how, when, and where for you, Larry.
Well, what's interesting is, I hope you don't mind equating to me because of my well-known lack of mental stability. You notice the guy didn't talk about statistics or algorithms. He talked about the passion he had for his business. And I think we'll agree that in whatever field you're in, if you're not excited about it, if you're not passionate about it,
Yeah.
you're dead. On the other hand, man, I wrote a book, Mark, called Inner Moron Demons, How to Avoid Them and Live Your Best Life. And I think my favorite chapter was Not Losing Your Inner Child.
Yeah.
When we're a kid, we think we can grow up to be an astronaut, president, reform the Beatles. It's only when we become adults that we get stupid, that we start limiting ourselves and start realizing why we can't. So I'm super glad Gary knows you, and now we know you. What do you see as far as changes? You've been around like I have a long time. We've seen a lot of things. I think we're both agree that the human aspect is now the most neglected part. After COVID, people forgot to sell and make eye contact, and nobody answers their damn phone. What do you see as changes? And tell us a little bit about what you're doing to help ease these changes for our industry.
Sure. The adage, everything old is new again. So when I say, what's new and improved, it's kind of, the Who song, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Things are, you're right, things have changed, but the foundational things, the issues in dealerships with regards to training, and as you said, being passionate, really understanding your product, those things still today need sales support and training support. So I agree with you 100% that things have changed, but the more they change, it seems like they've stayed the same in a lot of regards. And you talk about passion. It's not so much passion. To a degree, it certainly is passion for me, but it's also the ability to try to do things the right way. And that's, Gary talked about before the podcast started, we were talking, and he said, there was a time in the 80s, in the 90s where it was kind of the wild, wild west. And there's a lot of those practices we certainly wouldn't do now because they weren't the right thing to do. Our whole focus has been on the F&I side of the business, and what we do at Armor All and with the SmartShield program is to build things around credibility. And to me, and not just credibility, but we developed the program instead of from the dealer down, developing our program, we developed it from the consumer up, which will go back to your point. We want to elicit and get more enthusiastic yeses as we can from the consumer. And I think one of the big pieces, as you said before, is people have lost their way with regards to really how to sell. And I don't like the word to sell. I like the word educate. They forgot how to educate people and get them to a point where they want to buy something to a point. It's not about selling. It's about educating. And we developed this program in working with partners like Gary and others to, as I said, from the consumer up, that if we can get a program that says that the consumer can look at and see legitimate value in and credibility in, they're going to say yes. And if they say yes more often, the salesperson is happier, the F&I manager is happier, the dealer is happier, and the general agent is happier if we get more yeses.
How about the customer's happier too?
Well, that's the whole idea. And when we talk about credibility, our industry, the appearance industry, is probably the most maligned industry in F&I. Rust and dust, mop and glow, spick and span, the glop bucket. I mean, you name it. There's been a lot of really bad ways to describe the appearance side of the business for a long time. And a lot of it very suited, candidly. What we've done is, and what we feel we've done, and we hope what our partners feel, is that we've taken that to a level from a credibility perspective along three different things. Great chemistry, which we can talk about. And Gary, that's really of interest to you, and it is to me to talk about. Great branding, obviously. I won't talk a lot about Armor All is a great brand. We've been in the space for 50 years, the F&I space now for 10 years, but very well recognized brand, very helpful to our general agents to make new relationships and dealerships. The brand helps the consumer very easy to get to a point of comfort in the F&I department. especially the DIY customer who's very skeptical of products like this being offered in the F&I department. The brand, because it's the most purchased brand in the United States, actually is worldwide, but there's a good chance every one of those tougher DIY customers in the F&I office looks at a program. They know Armor All, they know it's a good brand, they know they make great products and it's a good value. So we're transferring that brand in to help the customer make that positive decision. So that's the branding part. The chemistry and the training part are really the two things that I'm really excited to have the opportunity to share with you guys. The appearance side of the industry, to me, the consumer, when they're offered any of our program or any of the great competitors that we work against out there, there's a lot of conversation talk about products that are applied to the consumer's car. And I think when customers buy products like this, they're not buying it for the warranty, which is important if there's a claim. They're buying it for the actual protective capabilities of the products that are going on the car. Our chemistry for paint, as Gary and I was talking, he was in with us a few weeks ago. We are the only company in this space right now, and it's more expensive for us to do it. It's more difficult for us to do it, but it goes back to that credibility piece. We are the only company that offers a true solvent-based ceramic chemistry for the paint of the car. It's a polysiloxane, and I'm not going to super geek out here on you, but polysiloxane is a pre-ceramic chemistry that when it's applied to paint, when it cures ambiently and with moisture, it forms a very thin layer of glass on top of the clear coat. We're the only company in the marketplace that has a solvent-based ceramic chemistry, which is really, our competitors, they have fine products, but none of them are the chemistries that we have, and we believe that is the absolute best thing to provide the customer from a protective capability perspective. And hopefully that's kind of addressing what you were talking about, Larry.
Before we jump to my good and great friend Gary Silman, I see that Abdul has joined, and we appreciate you being here, Abdul. And we had a LinkedIn user that was singing your praises, Mark. So we're glad for that. Let me throw two quotes at you that will tie in. You can't lose your energy. You can't fall into the cynicism that's a part of the world and a part of our business. Because Mr. Townsend also said, I hope I die before I get old. In my generation, and now if you go see him and Daltrey, they're sneaking up on the dark side of 80 years old. And the other one, look, I don't care if you're the president, I don't care if you're Elon Musk, I don't care who you are, we have these peaks and valleys. And I always quote one of the greatest men that ever lived, most influential, Winston Churchill, who said his definition of success was going from one failure to another with undiminished excitement and enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So we're really glad you're here. I know you and Gary go back a long ways, and he probably has some really salient questions. So, Mr. Silman, and if you're not busy later, Mark, we're going to get Mike Larkin drunk and make him try to pronounce polycillion. So
I can't say it sober. So
here we go. So we just cured him of his drinking problem. Who needs AA when you have the LF? Go ahead, Gary.
I'm thrilled that it's Friday afternoon and we get to wrap our week up. And I got three really cool guys that I can call my buddies. And what better than a way to finish up a week than chatting with some guys that you like and respect. So that's a great way to start. Mark and I go back to 1993. When Mark was selling the Travelers, where I'm wearing my Travelers hat. We'll tell a story another day of how we snuck into the Travelers, but that'll be for another story. I've been with Mark as he built Simonize, and I was fortunate enough that when I joined Universal Underwriters, we were able to get Simonize as a product that we were able to offer. So that must have been the late 90s. So the late 90s, I think that's when you had finally developed your Simonize, and then we put a deal together with Universal. And this is what reminds me today, because we had a very, very passionate product that we could sell. And we were the people on the floor training the F&I people and training the salespeople. And, you know, we watched how dealerships could grow from being very disorganized and fighting and not getting along to just now tracking the numbers and seeing who's doing a better job on SIMO sales and who's doing a better job on service contracts. So we knew, that was back in the day, universal underwriters, where we were coming into the store and we were helping the dealer and his people manage the process. And so that's when I learned how to say polysilazane. Mark has never deviated. So we talk about integrity. We talk about trust. And Mark has always been somebody that I've looked to, being in this auto industry, as a person with integrity. We confirmed it a few weeks ago when we had Mackie on. Mackie Hughes actually referred to Mark using integrity and talking about hooey. So today, after all of our years of being in the industry and all the trials and tribulations of good things and bad things, well, Mark stayed the course. And Mark's product with the chemistry is now a true winner that dealers should be very proud to offer, because it creates a wonderful relationship with their customer. Because today, the customer is gold, and they have to help them how to maintain their vehicles for the long run. We talk about cars on the road for 13 years is the average. 13.2 is the average. When you sell a new car to a customer, you got to think that they're in that car for 10 years. Or what's a strategy of getting them out of them earlier? When you get trades that have been treated with polysilazane on the exterior and the chemistry on the interior, you guarantee yourself you're going to have better trades, or your customers are going to get better value, that your wholesalers and everybody are going to like the car, and everyone's going to get more money. That's how you build your cycles back up and getting the customers wanting to be back into the drive-through on their first oil change. That we all talk about how the more you can get them to come back to your store, they're going to stay with you. So I'm proud to be now, which just makes everything came together, with Mackie Hughes joining United Car Care. United Car Care, with an excellent reputation, reminds me of universal underwriters. Everybody needs a service contract provider that pays claims on higher mileage cars, on imports, on Europeans. And now they've partnered with Armor All SmartShield. So now we have a group of a family. I'll throw in Riley Sorrell as our expert when it comes to this wonderful product, Recover. So I'm renewed with energy and passion because of guys like Mark that stayed the course. And so now I'm thrilled, and, you know, I took some time, but we want to hear more from Mark, because Mark has the secret sauce, and he's been doing it for a long time. And let me just land the plane, Larry. It's great to have everybody here, and thanks, Mr. Trahan. We go back 32 years. Chapters are just, we can read, there's probably 4 or 5 chapters. So we're right in the next one.
I jumped in with the LinkedIn user that thinks Mark's the best thing since sliced bread, said if the car is well maintained, the customer gets more on trade. I mean, think about it. One of the things, the skills that's fallen off is the age-old perfect concepts of with him. What's in it for me? Yeah. Why should any customer buy this specific car at this specific dealership from you specifically? And selling a product that's going to help them long-term retain the value of their vehicle is pretty great. But you have to understand what you're selling and take the time to do it. Go ahead, Mark. I had to throw that in because the guy's comment was perfect.
You're spot on, and I'm happy to see that comment as well. But, you know, the flip side, I mean, obviously we want happy customers, but we want healthy dealers as well. And the nice thing
Whoa,
about
whoa,
this,
whoa, whoa, hold on. You're smart, Silman's smart, Mike's smart. How come all dealers aren't smart enough to realize if you keep the customers happy, the dealers will be healthy?
hey, from your lips to God's ears, as I like to say.
We don't have God's schedule until the middle of November. It was a hard get, but Larkin pulled some strings.
Good job. So when I say healthy dealers, the benefit of this program, we like to see the dealers sell this for a good, solid, well thought out price to the consumer. We like to see it priced the right way, obviously. But that money that the dealer generates on that income is good old non-chargeback, new car gross type income that the dealers need. And that if there's anything I'm blessed to be able to talk to a lot of dealers every month. And if I talk to them 30 years ago or 3 hours ago, the number one concern that they've had has been front-end gross compression, and that it's not a growth industry. But new car gross is, it's just not what it used to be, obviously, and it hasn't been for a long time. Products like these and other great F&I products besides ours, the ones that are non-chargeback, they develop that good new car gross type income that falls to the dealer's bottom line. So there's been many times where we walked into dealers and had an opportunity to sit with the dealer, and the sales manager and F&I manager will tell a story going, yep, we just rolled that car. It was on the lot for 6 months. It was a bit of a loser, but we did sell the SmartShield program on it, and we made X. I sit with the dealers and go, remember, that's new car gross. That's good old non-chargeback income that you can develop through your F&I department. And dealers need things that are low cost with great margins that are non-chargeback, and that's what Gary and others around the country are talking to dealers about, is that we do have a great program, but we are in the new car gross business. That's the business that we're in when this program gets sold in dealerships. It's super helpful. But again, all surrounded by great chemistry, great branding, and great training. And that's the last piece, if I have a minute or two here to leave. Training is so critically important. Dealers need it more than anything. And Larry, you started at the beginning that people have kind of lost their way. They don't know how to shake a hand or answer a phone or whatnot. Training to us, we run our company like a training company that has products, not like a company that's got products that offers a little bit of training. Training is absolutely critical. Training our general agent partners, our OEM partners, our large scale F&I partners, training them to help spread the word properly to the consumer, because the more the customer gets it, the more they understand, the more they buy. But the training aspect is super critical for us as well, which is all part of it. We have a great process which includes customized videos for the dealers to help to pre-educate the customer before they get into the F&I department. Those three things are critical, and that's really what I wanted to share with you guys today. Is obviously great branding, great chemistry, but training is so critically important. And Gary knows and others know that we train and support our GAs and all our other relationships like crazy, because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters, is how much legitimate support. If I can help them succeed, obviously we end up succeeding as well.
Mr. Larkin, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm the consumer part of this 3.0. And just one question is the Armor All product patented with the chemistry? In other words, Simonized has a bit of the market, and the dealerships that are bad works are going to continue to be bad works.
Yeah.
What is your kind of pitch to them to say you've got an inferior product and you've got an inferior kind of offer that you're making to your customers?
It's a great question. It's two pieces. One, we do a great job helping the consumer understand of the coverage that they have and don't have from the manufacturer. That's the first thing, Mike, is that if the customer thinks that the paint is covered as part of their factory warranty, why do they need a program like ours? So we do a very good job helping the customer understand that the factories can't control Mother Nature and being human, which is acid rain and tree sap, or a 2-year-old with ice cream, as we like to say. That's the first part of it. The second part is getting the dealer to understand the significant difference. And it is an education process, and it's one that we fight pretty well, and getting the dealers to understand that not all protection chemistries are built the same. Some are tier 1, some are tier 2, some are tier 3, etc. And all of our competition that we work against, all their products are for the most part, they're fine. But we just think in our arena that having a legitimate solvent-based polysilazane chemistry, and it's polysilazane.
Polysilazane.
You got it.
Yeah, I did. Oh my God.
Yeah. Having a legitimate chemistry like that, and again, expensive for us to do, a little bit tricky to work with, but it's just something that is in the customer's best interest.
Hey, excuse me again. We've got another LinkedIn user, and they said, don't forget about the interiors. Moms, families love interior.
Yeah.
Mark, tell us about that company that you've been using for a long time, because that's when you want to know about chemistry, these guys understand it.
The interior chemistries that we have, just so you guys know, all of the companies that we work with 3 individual companies that manufacture our chemistries, and we feel they're all the best in the space. I've already talked about our paint chemistry. The interior chemistries, both the fabric and the leather chemistries, are micronized plastics. And I don't think I mentioned this, but you know that crazy aunt that you have that had the couch from 1912, and it's in perfect condition because it's been covered in plastic all that time? That's in essence what we're doing with our product. Plastics are, they're naturally hydrophobic, they're naturally stain resistant, and they're very difficult to break down. Our products are designed for the ventilated seats so they won't clog up the seats, etc. But we're working with the leather manufacturer. I'll just share that is a company called Phoebing. They're the oldest leather care company in the United States, and they own the market with regards to high-end leather tack protection, women's high-end handbags, men's high-end cowboy boots, etc. Phoebing makes amazing products, and when we set out 11 years ago, we reached out and we tested over 50 different products between fabric providers, leather providers, and paint providers. And the 3 that we're using right now, we feel as of 3/27 today that we've got the best chemistries available. And the nice thing is that we're not tied down to these chemistries because these are contract manufacturers now, but we're free to go and to constantly be evaluating the market to find better products. Hopefully that answers your question, Gary.
Mark, and on top of that, the karma is incredible on this show because that crazy aunt you were talking about with the plastic, that happens to be Mike Larkin's fiance, and believe it or not, her name is polysilazine. That's the only reason you can pronounce it.
She's only 96.
Wow. Congratulations.
Mark, it's been a pleasure doing business, having you on this program. I can see why you and Gary have been friends forever. Your numbers being scrolled at the bottom. What is it? Do they go to SmartShield? What's the best way to reach you other than picking up the phone and calling you?
Well, they can go to our website, which is Armor All Dealer Products, or you can Google Armor All SmartShield, and you'll come up to our website. And if you're an agent, you can contact us that way. If you're a dealer, if you're a consumer, you can contact us through the website. For people who want to, unfortunately, jot down a very long email, it's my initials, MT at Armorall, ARMORALL, dealer products with an S.com. Those are great ways to get a hold of me. And Larry, Mike, and Gary, again, congrats on 40 episodes. It's a milestone. Keep it going. And I'm really, really happy to invite it. Thank you for inviting me on your show.
Pleasure was ours. We'll probably have you back. We love your spirit. We love your energy. And like I said, I can see why you and Mr. Selma have been friends for so long. Listen, we encourage you all to reach out to this gentleman. He's doing good for the consumer and the dealer. And how many products can you talk about in that vein? And as you can see, he's, as my late father would say, he's a gentleman and a scholar. Mark, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you all next week. Abdul and LinkedIn user, whoever you may be, we appreciate your viewing. And everybody just stay healthy, and we'll see you next week.
Guys, thank you.
Guys. Love you guys. Have a good weekend.
Enjoy the weekend. Take it easy.